Right, so hi guys, welcome full fam, and hashtag oldies, nothing to do with age, it's how long you've been around, or hashtag newbies, whether you're brand new or you're like, been here a week or whatever. And yeah, if I'm looking kind of tired and sleepy, it's because I was channeling away there for about 20 odd minutes. And I might decide to publish that and I'll link it below if I do, but I was just kind of having a wee chat about what inspired me to do what I'm going to do now. But I want to keep these quite short. Um, so yeah, so you can watch that if you want to see what inspired me to do this. Or if I don't end up putting that out, just in a nutshell, it was just generally I've went through an intense period of spiritual warfare, well, for years, but like no, for in all seriousness, that's true. For in all seriousness, the last few weeks, really, basically the whole of Pisces season has been rough as fuck, um, and um, and I'd made a promise to myself, recently that if if some of it, well, obviously I'd want all of the stuff to be resolved and sorted out where there was difficulty, but if at least some of it started to get back on track, that I would give back. And I just really felt a really strong pull to do a wee healing today for a miracle. So we're just going to keep it, yeah, we're going to keep it simple. But it's just know that it really is, it's really coming from a place in me of being so grateful for at least some of the stuff turning around and just holding space for the rest to come about as well, the way it's all meant to. But we've got that, so we've got release, surrender for a miracle, because let go and let God is one of my favourite sayings, along with this too shall pass, because again, for obvious reasons, this too shall pass. I mean, things are crap, you know what I mean? And it will pass. You don't feel like it did, but it will. Things will get better. Um, but you got to honour where you're at. And all these things, expect a miracle. All these things help me. And they always pull me up to when it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. Um, and it's true. That's why I love being out in the rain when a lot of people don't. It's just the majority of people. They're always wanting to stay in the house or whatever, and I just love getting out there because it's like, yeah, you're out in the rain. That you can come back and get warmed up and get a shower or a bath or whatever, and your jammies on, like just enjoy being in that, and that the rainbows come out, and it's and yeah, and when the if it and if it wasn't for the darkness, you wouldn't be able to see the beautiful stars. Well, that's very beautiful, whatever that was all about there. But yeah, so let's just carry on with this so that it doesn't end up being too long. So wherever you're in need of a miracle right now. And yeah, so if you are brand new to me or if you just need a bit of a reminder, it's I'm a Reiki master teacher, so it's Reiki that I'm sending you. It's my shamans, it's shamanic healing. Everything I do is soul retrieval, but in a wee 10-minute video, would I class that? Yeah, I mean, yeah, from what they sort of tell me, it is. If you want it to be, it is. It's pulling back something in you that you need. I would say it's retrieving back your hope or your faith, because they're pulling me back to have faith, because faith is a bit stronger, isn't it? You're like, oh, I hope it's going to get better, but when you've got that faith, you're really, you either, I feel what I've been through recently and still in, there's still things that I could massively fall into fear about, but I'm choosing not to, with not a lot of evidence. And it was the same with what's just been resolved there recently. Um, yeah, they do just keep saying to me a lot. It was a test. It feels like I've been really. It was an initiate. It feels like I've been through some really intense initiations recently. Yeah. So without making this a big chat again, like the last video. So what was I saying? Yeah. So it's Reiki, shamanic healing, soul retrieval. It's just me bringing in the Holy Spirit. Uh, and yeah, just the power of intention. And it's really, and again, because I'm a hypnotherapist too, I just feel it adds that more zing to it, that it's because my words hold power. As all of our, you should, everyone should be conscious of that. Everyone's 444, and oh yes, see, they're reminding me, and the angels gather around to help me channel this energy. It's all of our words hold power, But I'm very, very aware of that with me, with my specific astrological placements, and just with the amount of healing energy I hold, that, and it's quite interesting because they're saying to me as well, it doesn't mean that I'm immune from being triggered myself and like overstepping the line from time to time as well if somebody pushes my buttons. And again, it's quite interesting that this is a twin flame channel, because that absolutely, those of you that know your twin well, or whether it was recently or a long time ago, you'll know that's it's very much a thing. And that's actually why you could make a mistake at some points. You could actually think that this person's not a good thing in your life, because it's like, oh man, I couldn't be bothered with that much beef with someone all the time. But you'd be wrong in thinking that. It is just because it's not a normal dynamic. Like, you literally are balancing out both energy. You're balancing out the energy between the both of you. So if you never sort of face each other to do that, to have that heart to heart, to have that conversation, as I'm looking at that card up there, it's two people looking at each other. It's the 2 cup card. Then if someone's always just running away from that situation, that's what causes it. But again, that's how it's meant to be until it's not. Do you know what I mean? And where people, if somebody really is running and they're not willing to face it and they're very resistant, that's when spirit, God, universe, they'll orchestrate it that you'll bump into them or something. You know what I mean? It's happened to me. It'll happen to you. It happens to clients of mine. It happens. So interesting with me going into that there. This is a twin flame channel, and I'm a twin flame divine channel. So yeah, maybe that does make sense that a lot of people are wanting miracles with their twin flame. Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't need to be about that. It can be, because it wasn't the thing that was resolved for me today, wasn't about that. But it can be about that for you, because again, it's kind of like the thing for me was it was more kind of stuff to do with, yeah, if this isn't kind of sorted, then it doesn't really matter. If that, yeah, it's kind of like it's just stuff to do with like something that was weighing heavy on me, and something's lifted. Yeah, basically, yeah, it's all kind of practical sort of stuff. And you take it one step at a time. Right, so anyway, so now what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes for a moment and breathe in, telling yourself relax. And breathe out, telling yourself release. And breathing in, telling yourself relax. And breathing out, telling yourself release. And I can make these clearings go on really, really long, and I don't want to do that, so I'm making it clear to them that I'm just going to ask right now that we're bringing in the energy that we need, and I'm just bringing in that white light down all the way through your head, all the way down through your head, over your eyes, down over your throat chakra, wherever you need to speak your truth, down over your higher heart, calling on Saint Germain, the violet flame, to cleanse, clear, and delete any previous requests that no longer serve your highest good, to make way for what will serve your highest good and the highest good of all involved. And we ask for that for your twin flame too, with their higher self's permission. And so they'll only receive that if they're open to it. But I can't imagine why. Again, the ego self could tell you different, but the soul self would always want it, in my opinion. And again, I'm channeling the divine when I say that. And so the energy moves down through the heart chakra, pulling in that unconditional love for exactly where you're at in this now moment, knowing that you're learning exactly what you're meant to be learning for your soul's growth. And that's the truth, even if it might not feel like it sometimes. And now the energy moves over the solar plexus and down over the sacral and down to a root. And from the root grow roots of the trees, going down, 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 all the way down, coming out your feet. And just let everything go, anything that's unsettled you on the day you're listening to this, or anything at all that you feel you've learned a karmic lesson with, and you're truly ready to be done with that, or that situation, or anyone in your life, it feels like this is a repetitive cycle and it's time for this to come to an end as well. Whatever it is, and that could be absolutely anyone in your life, send that all down to the bottom of Mother Earth, however you imagine that to be. We're going to cut the cords of fear, lack, negativity, and that's when I click my fingers. Letting go of the pain, holding on to the lessons, because it makes you who you are. And that, again, that's like they say, that's what inspired me to do this today, that although it's been rough as fuck, to be blunt, the whole of this, I don't know if I'd say the whole of this year, but it has on and off been pretty rough. It's been magical and rough. But the past, yeah, like I say, the past few weeks in particular have been really not very good. But I'm really grateful. Like, I'm really, really grateful, because I feel it has buffered me up. You know, it's like what I say, it's like, you know, you're a lump of coal, and it's buffered me up into a bit more of a diamond. And my birthstone is diamond. So I feel when I'm saying that about me, it's wherever you're going to resonate with that too. If you really reflect back on, especially if you're watching this in real time, like, I mean, I'm filming this as we're a few days away from coming out of Pisces season in Aries, and that'll, like I say, it's like when we go in from a moon in Pisces to a new moon, to a moon in Aries, which is what is going to happen early next week as well. That's always rough too, because it's like you go from like really feminine stillness and the unknown, to truth and new beginnings and kind of knowing what's happening. So it's a very drastic sort of change. It's like the change from Sagittarius to Scorpio. The Scorpio moon at Sagittarius as well, I always find is like that as well. But you see, I'm very used to that, because I've got a Sag moon with Scorpio rising, so that's why I can bring the humour and the banter and the you know, the sort of Hayuka empath. So if you know what that is, kind of like, you know, that Joker kind of trickster. So it's not so much like Coyote, but it's that kind of fun and playful banter, where it's needed even in the dark times, because it is needed in these dark times collectively and personally, especially if people get the situations I help people with. But you know, that's the sort of Sagittarius energy, I would say. And then the you know, the Scorpio, you know, the deep, the abundance of Scorpio that I've got in my chart, it's how I can handle a lot more darkness than most. You know what I mean? And I know there's others out there that can do that too, but it's like I say, I never see anybody with the particular placements that I've got where they are. It's because not everybody could handle it. So, and I own that shit. So anyway, let's get going with this. We're going to bring in some miracles and magic for you. So that was us connecting. See what I mean? All of that was coming out as I was channeling the disconnecting from the old earth. So now we're connecting to the new earth of peace, calm, abundance, balance of your inner masculine and feminine energy, pulling up that energy up through the roots of your tree, all the way up to your heart, attracting healthy, balanced relationships all around, whether it be romantic, friendships, business, anywhere in your life. You can recognize healthy dynamics, healthy boundaries, and they're saying it was like being mindful of having compassion when people don't have healthy boundaries, because at one point you will have been that person. I certainly know that I have, and a lot of the teaching that comes from me is from recognizing where I really didn't have any boundaries with people, and I would just I'd set myself on fire to help other people, and I could still, you know, on a bad, you know, in a bad day or in a bad kind of time, if I haven't watched my own self-care, it could still happen, but it happens less and less and less. It's, you know, I'd like to say, oh, it'll get to the point where I never fuck up, but that's never going to happen. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like when I said, your words can be used to heal or to harm. You know what I mean? Words are powerful, and we're all going to have moments in life where you're going to say something and you're going to like, I really shouldn't have said that. And they're just really stressing this with me, that it's a piece of wisdom you really need to know for you and your twin flame, because that's where you'll be tested. Like, because nobody can trigger you like your twin flame. But it's kind of like what they're saying to me is it's an interesting one, because it's rough at first, but it's kind of like how, like right now, collectively on the planet, and those of you that are through that will know that if you're already together and stuff, that triggering, you know, we often think that triggering is a bad thing. Oh, by the way, you can open your eyes if you want, or you can keep them closed. This is just sort of coming through. It must be what people need to hear as it reaches 1444 144. that yeah, triggering isn't, it's just triggering a remembrance or triggering something like, oh yeah, it gets you to change, you know what I mean? Where there's stagnancy, and and that's really needed right now because the South Node is in Scorpio, and you can use that, you can utilize it and really let go of the toxicity and the toxic habits, behaviors that you've got in your life. Or you can, like what I do, you can help that, do that for yourself, like I do that for myself, but you can also be helping other people with that energy. Or you could hit the self-destruct button basically and self-sabotage, and we're literally seeing that. If you think about it, we're in real time as I'm filming this, like March 2023, we're seeing that happen. And it's only going to get worse. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, I think we know that. But when you can learn to stay in your peace, and when you can find the things that bring you back into your peace, which hopefully this is one of them, then that's how you can do your part to raise, you know, your own spirits and the spirits of others, like, you know, to just find the joy in the little things, and or the bigger things, like finding your calling, and, you know, those of you that feel like you've lost a bit of your purpose, because I can feel that that is out there too. But that's called the dark night of the soul. And you don't need to be in a dark night of the soul to be feeling like that. You could have just went through some really rough spiritual warfare, like what I'm saying I've been sensing. Well, I'm not sensing, I've been going through it, but you know, I just know that other people that are definitely have been going through the same. And just be mindful as well that, like, you know, these words that I'm using for me, like, you know, lots of people know what that means, but there's other people that maybe don't really get even what that means. Obviously go and Google it, but it's kind of like it's just going through, you know, it's just when, like, yeah, it's like a 10 of wands, just seems like one thing after another, but you're only given as much as you can handle. And that's why I'm saying what I'm channeling into this today is gratitude for having come out of a bit of the darkness. There's still things that, again, I'm like holding space for, you know, miracles to come about, but I'm still, you know, like I would do for a client, I'm still doing that for myself. But it's kind of like, that's what these last days are about, Pisces season. Like, choose very carefully what you're believing. Believe it to see it. Like, don't put doom and gloom into stuff. Even like with what I said there, that is just realistic with the astrology and all that and the energy. Like, it is going to get worse before it gets better collectively in the world. But if you are always expecting the worst, then you're going to get the worst. Whereas if you kind of do a little bit, like I said, I won't be so cryptic in the future, and I'll be able to tell lots of, you know, the different stuff that's been going on in that. It's basically, it was yeah, it's, you can literally change the outcome of things by changing the way you think. It really does just come down to that. Right, okay, I think that's enough. I'm making this really long again. So anyway, pull in whatever it is you personally feel you need up from the new earth. Pull it up to your heart. And again, the collective intention for this is I'm just going to sit and channel healing for wherever it is that you need a miracle. Just knowing that I'm using so much gratitude for the things that have already started to turn around for me that I was worried about, and the things that I know I'm putting out the gratitude for the things that haven't gotten better yet, but I'm holding space and having faith that they will. So I'm putting all of that in, and I'm opening you up to just believing that can happen for you too. And that's where you can let me know. You can let me know after the different bits and bobs that come about, because I do have faith that things are going to come about from this. And I just feel it's extra magical that, although this isn't a shamanic journey as such, but it kind of is kind of turning into a bit of a longer one. I woke up to a lovely email today from one of you guys, just basically saying to me that, you know, that you'd referred one of the, well, it was actually specifically the karmic shamanic journey onto somebody that was, you know, in a dark place. And it was just, I felt, I don't really know how to describe how I felt, but it felt really good to read that, to be like, how mad is that I've been going through and still going difficulty of my own, that somebody could be, chucking on one of my videos and it's helping them out a dark place. And that's what I say about it. It doesn't matter how dark things get for me. That's how I always just come back to, I can always just look for the light in the situation, and they just put the word joy. It's like that even makes, that does, all these little bits make you, bring you back together. And that's actually what soul retrieval is about. You know what I mean? It's, if you're grateful for every little thing, even when things are really crap, you will slowly start to feel better, and eventually you'll be fully in your joy. Because again, I feel very much that it's just where we're at collectively. You know what I mean? So anyway, God, it's really making it a lot longer than I want it to be, but that's fine. So right, what I'm going to do now, right, is if you haven't already opened your eyes, I want you to open your eyes because I do want to shake the rattle at you. So, yeah, and this is just my intention right now is this is to shake off any negative energies or entities or anything hanging about your aura. And I know I already said that in the clearing, but I really do just want that kind of sound shakes away any more sort of shitty energy that's about. So just a warning for if you're, sensitive to your ears, because some people really love this and some people might not. But again, the demons really don't like it, so bear with if you don't. You know what I'm saying? You want that gone. Right, so like saying, keep your eyes open or you can close your eyes, but I'm going to shake that and I'm just going to do it for as long as I feel, and I'm just clearing as I'm doing it. Right. Right. Like I say, that's just a wee added thing that it called to me before I've done this. So maybe one day I'll manage to do a 10-minute, 15-minute video, but today we're on 22 minutes already. But anyway, this next bit doesn't need to take that long. Now I'm just simply going to sit, and I'm not really too sure what I'm going to do with my hands right now. I've got them in the prayer position, but like I said, I'm just going to sit quietly, hold in that intention of what I said, that wherever it is that you're needing a miracle right now, whether it be about money, which is what a lot of people can cause a lot of worry for, especially right now on the planet, but that's always going on for someone out there, calling in the money miracles. Or if it's not a money miracle, it reminds me of that story that I heard once. Oh, I can't remember it to recall it, but it's basically about sometimes it's not always in the form of money, and it's somebody offers you the help that you need. But anything along that area, miracles for your love life, miracles for loving yourself more, putting yourself first, miracles for paying attention to your boundaries. That's a big one in Pisces season. Again, we always need to pay attention to our boundaries though. Yeah, wherever you need a miracle, you know where you need a miracle. So just you hold that intention for you, and I'm holding that for all of us. And just sit in the silence. Let's just make this end on the 30 minutes if I can, and I'll just sit here and do whatever I'm guided to do. So just enjoy the silence for the next 5 minutes-ish.